Anyway, we're moving on to Rosalind Friedman from Connecticut. She's going to be talking about Best Book of a Musical and Best Performance by a Leading Actor in a Musical. Rosalind Friedman, she's been a critic for nearly 3 decades now. You can hear her on WMNR in Monroe, Connecticut. And she's also on the nominating board of the Outer Critics Circle, which, of course, our own Simon Saltzman will be very familiar with. So, Rosalind, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine, David. This is an exciting part of the year. We hate to give awards, but we love to.
Well, wait, why do we hate to give awards?
Oh, it's so hard to make those decisions.
Well, you're lucky. When a category is a tough one. Sometimes it's like, well, I don't know if anybody in this category should be getting anything, but most of the time it's a pretty exciting thing to do. So we're going to be talking about 2 different categories in this year's Tony Awards. The first one being Best Book of a Musical. And the nominees are Curtains by Rupert Holmes and Peter Stone, Grey Gardens by Doug Wright, Legally Blonde, the musical, by Heather Hatch, and Spring Awakening by Stephen Sater. Roz, take it away.
All of them are challenging in different ways. I don't really think that Curtains really belongs in that category, but...
because it's just not as good?
No, I don't think it is.
Okay.
I think that Rupert Holmes took over when Peter Stone passed away, which was very unfortunate. There were many people working on this show, and it seems that there are 3 plots at least going on at the same time in this book. And I found that very distressing. I don't know about others, but I think the paucity of really great musicals, in a sense, maybe keeps this going. It's entertaining. It's like, I think it's kind of the salesman musical that people used to say you could bring the salesman to these musicals.
Yeah, the tired businessman kind of thing. Yeah.
A Western, it's a spoof on a Western, it's a mystery, and it's a behind-the-scenes look. To me, it just didn't congeal as much as I would like. It didn't hang together.
Okay.
Then we have Grey Gardens by Doug Wright. Now, Grey Gardens is based on this fantastic story, a real story of the Beale family, the mother and the daughter. And it's so bizarre, and it's so quirky, and it's so wonderful. I felt that it was, the first time I saw it was off-Broadway, and the Outer Critics Circle gave it its Best Musical Award, so we couldn't vote on it again this year because it moved to Broadway.
Right.
I went to see it again on Broadway, and I was the first time I saw it, I had mixed emotions about it because the first act is so completely different than the second act.
True.
Quite jarring in terms of a book. But the second time I saw it, I was so taken with this show that I can't get this song, a song in it, out of my head. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah, which song?
It's called Around the World.
We're going to play that in the show. Yay! And I mean, in our special, we're playing that song. I picked that one because it's so pretty. And it also tells so much about her. I congratulate
you, and we didn't discuss this ahead of time, but I just think that this song, sung by...
Christine Ebersole.
Pardon? Christine Ebersole, is just one of the most beautiful things. It's a classic. And there are very few songs in any of the shows that you could say are classics anymore. Right?
Well, let's get on to the other nominees in the category. I mean, It sounds like Grey Gardens would be your choice for Best Book, but the Legally Blonde you didn't get a chance to see yet. But what about Spring Awakening?
Well, Spring Awakening was so fascinating, and I thought that I would just read to you what I said in my opening paragraph about this, because it says, it sheds a bright light on the birds and bees in ways that writers like Rogers and Hammerstein could never have imagined. Gone is the romance of lovers coyly singing, "Don't throw bouquets at me. People will say we're in love." Instead, the songs are "Mama Who Bore Me," "The Bitch of Living," "Touch Me," and "The World of Your Body." And in the second act, there is actually a song with the expletive word in its title.
Right, thanks for not saying
radio
it.
Station, and I can't say the word.
Right.
But the book itself is captivating, very captivating. It's old-fashioned. As you know, it's based on that 1891 German play by Frank Wedekind.
Right, which is not an old-fashioned play at all. It was a very newfangled and still a very avant-garde piece, even today, 100 years later. There's
Exactly.
nothing old-fashioned about it.
It's so contemporary. We think that we've learned a lot and we've done a lot, but we haven't got anywhere. But
so, if you were voting, would you vote for Grey Gardens or Spring Awakening for the Tonys?
Well, I am definitely for the Grey Gardens. I'm definitely for Grey Gardens.
Which do you think will win?
I don't know. Spring Awakening has quite a rush. It seems to have had quite a push going for it. But I can't really predict. You never know.
Well, let's move on to performance by...
I do have one question.
Sure.
And that is, why was Mary Poppins left off this because it was nominated for a Best Musical? Why didn't it get a nod? Because I thought the book and the development of that was very interesting. You know, as a darker piece, more psychological, not just the superficial Mary Poppins story that we know.
Yeah, maybe a lot of people just felt, I don't know, the movie was already a musical, and therefore they didn't feel like enough was done to translate it to a regular Broadway musical, as opposed to, say, Legally Blonde, which was a play, or excuse me, was a non-musical movie. I don't know. It is a good question. We do have to move on to leading actor in a musical, which include Michael Cerveris, Love Music, Raul Esparza Company, Jonathan Groff, Spring Awakening, Gavin Lee, Mary Poppins, and David Hyde Pierce in Curtains. Rosalind Friedman, talk to us.
Well, they're wonderful. Each one of these gentlemen are gifted, young, marvelous actors, dancers, in many different ways. I mean, Michael Cerveris didn't really dance in Love Music. He barely moved, but that's another story. Gavin Lee was spectacular in Mary Poppins, charming and a wonderful dancer, and certainly delivered the role. Has a lot to live up to, but did a good job.
Well, yes, the Dick Van Dyke part in the movie. Right.
Michael Cerveris, one of the Love Music is one of the oddest pieces I've seen.
Yeah.
I thought it was very stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was much too much with a German accent.
Mm-hmm.
He's an excellent actor, Michael, a wonderful musician. Every role that he plays is different.
And he was so great in Sweeney last year, but I think
marvelous.
That's what had been his...
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Raul Esparza was amazing in Company, which is a beautiful production. He's so talented. He's so gifted. And, I'm sure that if he deserves to win the award, but I'll take a break on that for 1 minute.
Sure.
Jonathan Groff was delightful in Spring Awakening, a very talented, gifted young man, but I don't think he earned the award in that show because there were so many other good performances.
Right.
And of all things, I fell in love with David Hyde Pierce.
Yeah, he was very funny. He holds the stage. He's great.
On the stage, he is so gifted. He is so comfortable. Everything he does is so adorable.
Yes.
And he really makes that show. I think without him, Curtain would be absolutely a bust.
Well, him and Edward Hibbert.
Oh, yeah.
Every time Hibbert
But Edward Hibbert is always Edward Hibbert. He does the same thing in every show.
So let me ask you, though, if you were voting, would you vote for...
Well, I'm torn. I'm torn between Raul Esparza and David Hyde Pierce. I don't think David Hyde Pierce is going to win. I think Raul Esparza, probably because he starts in the show, he's on stage the entire time. He plays the piano, he sings, he has a concept, it's a true line, the production is wonderful. And so because of all those things, I imagine that, I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been an Esparza fan for a few years now. He amazes me. I think he's tremendous.
And I did meet him at the Out of Critics, and I am amazed. He's a lovely, lovely young man.
Oh, that's great. Now we have just about another minute left. Please tell everybody what your favorite show of the year was. Was it Grey Gardens or what? Well,
I just thought Grey Gardens was wonderful. Seeing it again on Broadway, I'm convinced that it's still, as far as a musical. As far as a play, I love Journey's End.
Ah, yes.
And I am very disappointed that it's receiving so little audience attention, as they say.
Yeah.
It's a marvelous piece.
And do you have a favorite performance? Now, this can be Broadway or off, just your favorite personal watch home.
It's Christine Ebersole.
Uh-huh.
Because I think she's extraordinary. But there's one other person, and I haven't mentioned her, and she has to be mentioned, Audra McDonald.
Ah, yes.
I think she, in this, whatever she does, it's special. And really and truly, the production of 110 in the Shade is it's cute, it's charming, little high school, a little light. She is phenomenal in it, and her development of the character. She's too good for the role, but she's just marvelous. So I think, those two really hit me the hardest when it came to performances. And I think always that we have to remember the extraordinary talents that we're dealing with here.
Oh, completely. And I think as critics we're really trying to keep that in mind. Even when we're being a little snarky or picking one over the other, we realize
that's exactly
a high level of work we're dealing with.
I have a quote. Do we have 1 second?
Real quick.
Doug Wright, who wrote the book for Grey Gardens, said the following: "No human appetite is too base, no idea so holy, no institution so revered that it should be spared art's scrutiny." Well, that's what we're doing here on the Tony Award special. I want to thank so much Rosalind Friedman for helping us scrutinize the Broadway categories. Exactly. Thank you, David. It's been a pleasure. It's been great. Thanks, Ros. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.